serving in that capacity since 2016. With a 30-year career in public gardens, operations, program management, business strategy, and a proven ability to work with both internal and external audiences, she provides Dow Gardens with leadership, vision, and continuing success. Elizabeth graduated with honors and earned a Master's of Business Administration from Northwood University, as well as her Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science and Biology from Michigan State University's College of Lyman Briggs. While attending MSU, she spent a semester studying at the Kellogg Biological Center with hands-on research opportunities with visiting professors. Before coming to Dow Gardens, Elizabeth, a life member of the Chippewa Nature Center, served many roles at CNC, including program director for the summer day camp. She also worked as a contractor for Dow Corning Corporation, yay, in the environmental department, and as an intern at the Dow Chemical Company. Elizabeth is active with the American Public Garden Association, where she has been invited to present multiple times at their national conferences. She also served on the APGA National Awards Committee, evaluating other botanical gardens for 5 years. I got to know Elizabeth when she was, when she was board chair for the Midland Area Community Foundation. And she served as board chair for 2 years, and she was on the executive board for 6 years. I have never seen a person perform in such an interesting setting as our Midland Area Community Foundation, because we were doing some very weighty things in the community. We had lots of different personalities. Elizabeth always did an incredible job managing the herd of cats that she had to manage in those meetings. And I learned so much from her in how to run meetings and what leadership was all about. She also served on the grants committee, where again, I learned so much from her style, her grace, just her ability to run effective meetings. She is a 2008 graduate of the Midland Area Chamber of Commerce Leadership Midland, and was on its steering committee for 6 years. She's been an integral part of the formation of the Children's Grief Center of the Great Lakes Bay region, where she currently serves as immediate past president, and has been a Children's Grief Center group facilitator. She's been active with various community projects and service organizations. She's a member and officer of the Max Carey Blacksmith Guild, a member and officer of Midland's Contemporary Review Club, Midland Noon Rotary, yay, and the Midland 100 Club. I gotta say too, Elizabeth's parents were citizens of the Midland area for years. And periodically, Elizabeth posts pictures of them from their time in Midland. And the pictures are like stepping back into time and looking at the fashions and the styles that were present there. She also works on old Ford trucks. I know she's done that. I don't know if you're continuing to do that. She has so many different skills, but most of all, she is simply an incredibly nice, warm, grace-filled person. And Elizabeth, I am so happy to have you here today. Thank you for being here. And I'll turn it over to you, my friend.
Wow. Thank you, Kevin. That was quite an introduction. I really appreciate I'm right back at you, Kevin and Jenny. I really enjoyed knowing you when you were in Midland, and love that we can still continue to know each other with that connection called Facebook and watch each other's lives that way and things. Very distracting for me right now is seeing myself on the large screen. I do have a black eye that is healing. I took a ballet class and had a little accident. So I've been saying, hey, you should see the other ballerina. But truly, I was hanging my coat up and a picture fell off a chair rail and hit me. And this is actually good, but it's kind of distracting me because I can see myself right now. So today we are going to have some fun. We're going to talk about one of my favorite places. As I was going through some slides my dad took of Midland through the years, I'm helping him scan them and organize them. I found a photo of myself in 1977 in Dow Gardens, and that was pretty cool. I was walking with my mom in a very new garden open to the public. What you'll see today will get you oriented with Dow Gardens a little bit, and then we'll kind of sit back in our chairs and just go for a tour and enjoy the flowers and the colors and the discoveries that are Dow Gardens. The hardest part about preparing this talk for me was narrowing down what to tell you. I can't show it all to you. I think I actually had 130 slides at one time, and I have narrowed it down. So, but that was the hardest part, because I love the whole, I love, behind me, you'll see a little bit of Dow Gardens in the summer. What I love about it is there is a sense of discovery. The director that I worked with when I first started here 30 years ago, Doug Chapman, he was the first director of the garden. And he taught me that if you slow down and really look while you're walking through the garden, every day you'll see something new. It is alive, it's changing. And so that sense of discovery is something that I love about it. And anyway, I'm gonna quit talking. Oh, one more thing. For those of you who aren't from Michigan or haven't been up to Dow Gardens, and like Kevin and Jenny, I have to do the Michigan thing and tell you that Dow Gardens is located right about here. So that's our little Michigan hand for you. If you're really talented, you can do the Upper Peninsula as well. But so we're gonna go right here today. And we do have gloves that show that to you as well. Does that show up on my camera? Maybe not. There we go. The Michigan Lower Peninsula, you can actually get gloves with it. So let's try sharing the screen and we'll go on a trip through the gardens. All right. And I need to get to slide view. Is that right, Kevin?
Yes.
From beginning.
Get to the, yeah.
How's that look to all of you? Good?
Perfect. Yes.
Excellent. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to orient you a little bit just with a map. For those of you who love maps, it does go north and south, which is a great change that we made a few years ago. We kind of had it as we were walking in and that confused people. Dow Gardens is about 110 acres, as I said, located in Midland, Michigan. When I think about it, the lower part is what I would call the estate garden. The middle part is the exploration garden. And the top part is Whiting Forest of Dow Gardens. So I literally think about it almost in 3 chunks when I'm going through it. And part of that is because when I started here 30 acres or 30 years ago, there were only 30 acres open to the public, and that was called the estate garden. So in the time that I've been here, we've opened the exploration garden and the Whiting Forest just recently. And so now we have 110 acres for you to explore when you come visit us. But we're going to enter the gardens down at the bottom when we do go on tour. But you know what we're going to do? You're all at home. You're not here at our visitor center. So we're going to toss out this map. You don't have to worry about where you're going. We're just going to wander together today and go for a little trip down memory lane first. I want to show you a little history because Dow Gardens has a very rich history. These 2 folks on here are Herbert Dow and his wife, Grace Dow. And without them, we would not have Dow Gardens. So one thing you should know about Herbert Dow, he started the Dow Chemical Company. He was a chemist. He attributed his success to being right 2 times out of 100. He wasn't afraid to make mistakes. He liked to try new things. And we try to keep that in the gardens now. So sometimes the way we're set up, we have a team of horticulturists rather than just 2 and kind of your grounds crew. We have very unusually 8 horticulturists, orchard specialists, an entomologist, different folks, and they almost experiment still. So I can feel the different designs in Dow Gardens by the different personalities of the horticulturists as I walk through, but it is all tied together and it does make sense. It's not distractive, but we try new things here and we like to grow and evolve. Grace Dow on the right, she was a philanthropist in town, very connected to the community. And you'll be learning more about her in the next couple of slides because she does something pretty incredible after the death of her husband in 1930, well, actually 1931. So here are Herbert and Grace and their 3 children back in the 1890s. She's pregnant with her 4th child, and they are out there on their front lawn and of what we call the Pines, the home that they built. It's the only home that they ever built, and they raised their family. And they had kind of piecemealed property together over the years. but they will go on to buy a lot of property and have vast orchards in Midland. Herbert Dow, one of the interesting things about him, he was a Rotarian. He did not do his classification as a chemist, chemical engineer, scientist. He picked horticulturist. So that was his classification. He had a deep interest in gardens, and Grace kind of took, was kind of the inside the house and community, and Herbert was really all about the plant and his garden. And that's a big generalization because they all, of course, do lots more than just that. But I just did a little close up because you can kind of see what we call the pines back in the 1890s, and they're out there on the front lawn, getting ready to move in, dreaming. His backers down in Cleveland, Ohio, think he is crazy for building a house up north. He's not making any money. Things are not going well, but he's building a house. But he believes in the brine under Midland, and he has this idea that he can make bromine if he can get that brine. And he proves to be very successful in that, and Dow Chemical and Dow Corning and other things spin off from that. And we have historians in Midland who tell that tale to a depth that I cannot go, but would be another interesting presentation. Just Grace with her 4 oldest children on the left there, and then her 3 youngest children on the right. One thing that I point out, this was a family, and they had a family home, they had a backyard, and it's now called Dow Gardens. But you know, they weren't without struggle, and this is a very poignant picture when I look at it. The one on the left, Grace with her 4 oldest children, Grace will outlive all 4 of those children. So happy times, sad times, like any other family. Successes, obstacles, all sorts of things going on. But through it all, you're going to see there's a theme of philanthropy, of community, of supporting people, and a beautiful garden gets developed along the way. There's an early photo of Dow Gardens, and that is Herbert Dow sitting on a clinker bridge. We do have clinker bridges still in the gardens. One of my first projects 5 years ago at Dow Gardens was, let's take a look at the bridges and how are they faring? And it ends up that they weren't faring well. And Three Rivers or Gerace Construction told us, if you keep driving over the clinker bridge, it's going to come down. So we got to work and dammed up the water and discovered that you can't just go out and buy the leftover remnants from coal stacks, the clinkers, to build bridges. It's not environmentally acceptable anymore, of course. So we learned how to make fake clinkers and shore up our bridges. But Herbert Dow brought, obviously, things home from the chemical company he was starting, like the clinkers, out of the coal stacks and used them in his garden. Here he is out in his orchards. He had vast orchards. We have his journals. He was very interested in apples and how to best grow them, trying to find just that perfect apple. And you'll see this photo again later in my presentation when we talk about the apple orchards that we've just put in his honor. This is Grace. Let service be our motto and good deeds our badge. That may have been a quote from her service club, but she loved to use it. Underneath that is the foundation logo. When her husband Herbert died, she started the Herbert H. and Grace A. Dow Foundation in his honor. And that's really lucky for Dow Gardens, because Dow Gardens is a division of the Herbert H. and Grace A. Dow Foundation. So unlike many gardens that are in the American Public Garden Association, we don't have to do grant writing and go to outside sources for our budget. The foundation supports us as their own. So that is a big distinction as a director, that that doesn't become, I don't have a fundraising role per se. I have to have a really good budget, but many gardens are struggling right now, you know, with funding and things. So just an interesting difference. And here are our trustees of the foundation. And one of the things about this, these are all of Herbert and Grace Dow's great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren, except for one community member who sits on the board. And also there's a grandchild in that photo. But how neat is it when we have the Pines Home dinner during their trustee meetings, and we get that all set up for them, to think that Herbert and Grace Dow's descendants are sitting on her front porch. Really neat opportunities to make connections. And I am really lucky. I get to work with my trustee. This is Mike Dow, and he has taught me his saying of HH&E, which is honesty, humility, and enthusiasm, which lines up so well with our Rotary 4-way test. But we think through projects together for the gardens. We think through structures and how we're doing things with HH&E in mind. And I thoroughly enjoy working with him. He is one can-do guy. He'd make a good Rotarian, actually. Maybe we'll have to draft him. This is the team of Dow Gardens. We, in total, we have about 45 Dow Gardens team members. When we add in the foundation, which we are all a part of, we get to about 51. But what you're about to see on our tour is this is the group that makes it happen. So I thought it was important to share them with you. We do a lot of fun things to build team. Here we are learning how to flower arrange together. And then on the right was just a little idea we did. They were gratitude journals, and the journals are filled with quotes from our team members. And then you write down 5 things you were grateful for that day, and we pass those out just as a little opportunity to kind of focus on the positive. Because sometimes in the last 2 years, it's been a lot of negative to focus on. So we're just working on our culture and doing those types of things. Our Dow Gardens, what you're seeing on screen is our programming, and then we're going to launch into our tour. So I'm just giving you a really high level background. The way we approach events and programming in Dow Gardens, 5 years ago when I became director, our mission statement's pretty lofty. The Dow Gardens exist to preserve the history, enhance the horticultural beauty, and share the educational and leisure opportunities of the Herbert H. and Grace A. Dow estate. It's really hard to get excited and like spit that out and when you're coming to work every day. So what are you going to rally around? Great mission statement. Yeah, but so what we decided to rally around was pretty simple. We want our guests to go away feeling fulfilled when they've come here. But we recognize that everyone is an individual, and when you come, you may need different things from the garden. So when we program to these 6 different areas, and make sure Carolyn got them all on that slide that I stole from her, but we program to 6 different areas, feeling that some days when you come visit Dow Gardens, you might have just come from the local hospital with a cancer treatment. You just need a beautiful environment. You don't need us lecturing to you and learning. You just want to come and relax. So beautiful environment is one. Memorable moments is one we're pretty well known for our weddings, for our prom offerings. An experience to brag about is an interesting one. That's like, I just saw 20,000 tulips at Dow Gardens, or I went up on the canopy walk and I'm 40 feet high and I'm going to put it on Facebook. Because if I don't put something up on Facebook, my day just isn't complete. You know, we want to give you an experience to brag about. Transformative experiences are about those internal things, giving you opportunities to reflect, to do yoga in the gardens, to do journaling in the gardens, to have quiet moments and spaces. And new knowledge, that's learning from our horticulturists, maybe going on a tour. Shared discoveries, that's about coming as a grandparent and being able to read a sign to a younger child, sharing moments together. I can give you lots of examples of those, but we have an incredible team that works in those areas, and that's how we've chosen to set it up, to try to make people feel fulfilled. And that seems to be a really good rallying point for our team to come together on. Now we're going to sit back and relax, toss that map out the window, and just go on a tour together of Dow Gardens. And yes, as Kevin mentioned, those are my parents. I love to throw them into every program I give. Around here, my mom is very upset whenever no one knows I'm Elizabeth Finley, and I became Lumbert. So I try to always mention that too around here when I give programs. But let's sit back, relax. They're sitting on a bench in Dow Gardens up near our herb garden, and go for a little walk through the gardens. First of all, if you want to find us, we're kind of hard to find. We're tucked in the corner of a parking lot. This is not Dow Gardens. This is the Midland Center for the Arts, our neighbor, and they make us we are dwarfed comparable in size to their large building. Kevin and Jenny know this building well. I've seen Kevin sing as a pirate in this building. Our team is out on the grounds there turning their art sign where you can be like in the art, and we turned it into garden just to be fun. So well, that's what we're trying to do. Oh, Kevin's clapping. I got some fun there. So here you are. We're tucked behind the Center for the Arts, Midland Center for the Arts, and this is what's going to welcome you. Always a fresh bed to welcome you, to draw you in. In the wintertime, we do a different display, and usually it's an interactive one with Christmas lights. So if you have mobility issues, you can come enjoy this bed without even getting out of your car. That's part of why we do up our parking lot the way we do. We have the prettiest parking lot in the region, or I'll even say state. I'm pretty proud of our parking area. But we're going to go on inside Dow Gardens. I'm going to skip the gift shop today. We're going to kind of cruise right through the building, and we're going to go right out, and we're going to see a first glimpse of our waterfall. What I love about Dow Gardens is the sound. You're now in the estate garden, and the sound of water is going to kind of pull you through what's called boulder paths. You're going to follow a stream and that's going to turn into a pond, and just have a sense of discovery as you're going through the gardens. It's a very interactive garden. If you want to walk on the grass, you can. If you want to hold a butterfly in our butterfly display, our volunteers will teach you how to tickle their feet and put them on your finger. We're not hands off, we're hands on here, and we find some neat ways to share that. One of the discovery points is this bridge on Streamside, and I'm going to show you a couple different views of it. You just kind of come upon it. Here, the wedding couple has found it. We do host about 40, well, we had 40 weddings during 2019, and there's 63 the year before. I'm not sure where we'll land once we get through the next phase of COVID and everything. But I'm going to back out here and show you a panorama of what that bridge looks like if you were here with us today. We do have 11 bridges in Dow Gardens. So when I show you red bridges, it might be a different bridge, and I won't show you all 11 in the interest of time. Here it is again at night. The garden takes on a whole different glow. And the building up on the upper left right there is our conservatory, which if you saw it today is a complete construction site. We are renovating that building and getting it ready for the next 50 years, as we say. But it will look very similar. It's a structure designed by Alden Dow, who, as I mentioned to a few of you when we were first getting on the call, he studied with Frank Lloyd Wright, and you'll see a photo of his home and studio later in the presentation. As we go along, you'll see, well, here's some beautiful salvia in the foreground, but our barn is back there. That's a historical barn that even Herbert Dow worked out of. Another photo of what it looks like right now. We do have snow up here, but we are open all year, and our team works hard to get those pathways open for you when you come to visit. The garden is beautiful in all seasons. This is early spring, just steps away from our office area that I'll run down and see. I don't think our magnolias are probably going to compete with yours. I'm not even touching our rhododendron collection, which is amazing for the Midwest. But I've been out in your area, and you guys have some amazing horticulture down there with Daniel Stowe and UNC Charlotte and others. But we're doing okay up here in the north, I think, with our gardening. It's a different season. This is if you turn put the barn to your back and you look out, you'll see the pond, and you'll see this bridge called the Sun Bridge. Sometimes it's a sunset and sometimes it's a sun, again, designed by Alden B. Dow. And Mike Dow, who I showed you was my trustee, that Alden Dow was his father, and he had shared with me how nervous his dad was the day this got installed, that the reflection wouldn't be just right. And he's pleased to report his dad was pleased. Again, here's that sun bridge, but now we've got the winter landscape that we're enjoying right now. Anyone else cringe when I just said enjoying? But it is really beautiful. You do have to dress for it, but whole new garden. From the air, this is our herb garden that steps away from the barn. We are having to work with our horticulturists a little bit. Ever since we bought the drone, they started designing for the, hey, what does it look like from the air? We got to remind them that people are seeing it from the ground. But really kind of fun to see the herb garden from up here. Here's the pines. I showed you pictures of it earlier in its early days when the Dows were first moving in. This is what it looks like today. And if you came to visit us, you could tour the inside. We hired a historian 5 years ago now and gave her the job of make the pines active and lively. That's what we told her was her job role. And she has done more than that. She has brought purpose and meaning to it. And it's really fun to see the stories coming out of the home, how it's used. It was left pretty much as Grace Dow left it in 1953. The house wasn't disassembled and piecemealed with all of its contents. The contents are still there. We're really lucky. You can open up a drawer and still see letters, and we're working on archiving and taking care of her. But the pines is our roots. It all comes from the pines. It's one of my favorite front porches in Midland, and then you've got a view of the lawn and some of the flowers there. And it's also a place where we hold concerts, so you can go up there. We'll put a concert up there, and you can enjoy the front lawn and Herbert and Grace Dow's home. And again, you'd say, oh, there's another drone photo. That one is pre-drone. That was actually taken by our UPS mailman, who is a hot air balloon pilot, Mark Enzer. He captured that for us many years ago, and I haven't seen a better drone shot yet. So there you go. But that gives you a sense of the green, the lushness, and that green and lushness and the mature trees does make Dow Gardens unique. I think sometimes when I tour other gardens, we are over 100 years old. Herbert Dow planted the first tree here in 1899 and wrote home to his dad that he just planted an apple tree. So that's our stake. We're calling ourselves started in 1899 because Herbert planted a tree. And again, just showing you some of the garden in the fall. It's a whole new world every season. And like Doug Chapman shared with me, something to see every day if you look for it in a garden, something fresh. We're going to go over to one of my favorite areas. It's we're getting near the color garden. This is one of my favorite photos, actually. We have a lot of trails that like beckon you off the pathway. We do have 3.5 miles of paved accessible trails throughout our whole 110 acres. But what you'll see too, we'll have these little wood chip trails or trails made out of turf that will pull you away. You can have a great experience from all the paved areas, but if you are mobile enough to explore, you're going to have an added experience. And this trail is one that beckons you to go see that red bridge way in the background, which you haven't seen yet on your tour. You saw a different red bridge. Here's the red bridge. We're getting closer to it, that one we saw in the background. And I wanted to throw this color garden photo in to show all of you from North Carolina, because see that really cute frog right there? He's part of the ribbit exhibit. One of my favorite exhibits. We've hosted ribbit exhibit twice. Why is that important to all of you? The artist Andy Cobb lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, about 3 hours from Charlotte. And those frogs are probably touring sometimes nearby you, and watch for the ribbit exhibit. We host an art exhibit every year, and I'm partial to the ribbit exhibit. They've got character, they got personality, they got great stories made up for each frog, and they're really fun, just pure fun. And Andy Cobb ribbit exhibit does a great job, and he's from North Carolina. So I love Andy. Here's a look though, another look at the red bridge in the color garden area. Again, our horticulturists do their own designs. They go through a process where a senior horticulturist reviews them. Senior horticulturist Scott Schulteis tends to know what crops will fail or not work so much in that area and can kind of mentor our younger horticulturists. But it's really fun when Jacob Burns, who joined us from Chicago Botanical Gardens, said, wow, I got to design and it still looks like my design when it went through the process. And that doesn't happen at every garden because sometimes there's a lot of layers. And we're kind of proud of that fact that if you're a horticulturist, we really do embrace their designs and looks. And look at that lushness in the background again. That's that winter beauty where you learn to go out and not just see gray, but kind of look for the evergreens, the different tones of greens. The paper bark maple has like this gorgeous cherry peeling bark texture that you don't see in the summertime, and try to slow down and look for those different textures of winter. And it makes winter really become interesting here with the white background. There again is the color garden, and we're going to be scooting out of the color garden because I am kind of trying to watch the time. Am I doing okay on time, Jenny? Kevin, do you want to nod for me? Are we doing all right? Okay. Because we still have the estate garden or the exploration garden to go see, and the Whiting Forest. So we'll be leaving the estate garden and heading over here. We're moving into the exploration garden. I put the picture of our birch trees in here. Paper birch trees are an interesting one for Dow Gardens. In Michigan, we are the southern limit typically of the paper birch tree to be able to grow. It's typically a northern tree, and we have always for 30 years been on the southern limit. One thing we are noticing in our garden is our birch trees are struggling. And that is because our zone is changing. We're warming, and the birch tree is something that we are seeing. We may not be able to grow birch trees at Dow Gardens forever because it's a northern plant, and we were always at the southern part of it. So the birch trees are struggling, and it's an environmental indicator to us. It's a change in zones. Here we go. We are now in the children's garden, in the exploration garden, drone shot of that. Herbert Dow said a garden never pretends to be a finished idea. So I think he'd approve that back in 1999, we opened up the children's garden and this new 30 acres. So our guests had 60 acres to start to explore. When you get down on the ground, that's the entrance to the children's garden. It greets you with bright colors. That's a colored cement with a special grit in it so it doesn't get slippery when it rains. When you get into the children's garden, you'll find really fun things like Sir Hamelot the pig inside a rainbow bed and kids scrubbing it clean. We want kids to pick here. We want them to touch. We want them to explore. Our garden changes every year. Our children's garden is very plant oriented, less structure and more plant oriented, but they pick beans there, and they even take broccoli home and they'll eat it when they pick it. Here are some kids that we have a 12-week program where they come and they learn as a family unit. We have 84 families that typically garden with us. They get a little plot. We give them everything they need with instruction. And our goal is someday they do this at home, and that means they've graduated and we've done our purpose of teaching them. This started because when I was education coordinator, I got a little scared. I was talking to a family, and the mother didn't know that potatoes grew underground, that you dug potatoes. And that scared me. I knew it. My mom and dad had a garden. My grandma had a garden. I was connected to gardening, but I started to realize that there's a whole generation that wasn't as connected as I was. And so Growing Gardeners is that attempt to say, you may not have anyone to mentor you in gardening, but you can come here and we will help you. And it's really been a great turnout and a great program. Oh, and the scarecrows. And I always say this one's fun because she's wearing pearls like Grace Dow. But the scarecrows back behind them are so creative, so innovative. The kids bring their Halloween costumes and other things, and you never know what you're going to see. But every plot has a scarecrow, so it's intense. It's just really fun. Next to it is our production greenhouse, and our production greenhouse is a place where we grow all of our annuals, about 20 to 30,000, depending on the bed designs. We grow them. This is what they start to look like in the production greenhouse, and then they go out into the gardens. This one in particular is our trial area where we trial varieties to see how they do in our zone and how they work. If they work well, then the horticulturist will see how they did there and then put them out into their other designs the following years. This takes us really close to a brand new bridge that was put in 2017, and it takes us over the road. So we're going to cross West St. Andrews on a pedestrian bridge, go into a low area, go up a hill, and be at a new building called the Education Center. New as an education center, old as a structure. This structure was designed by Alden Dow for the Whiting family. And this is what we call Whiting Forest of Dow Gardens. We're now in the new the new part. So now you have 110 acres to explore. And the Whiting home, Alden Dow added on a bedroom every time Mrs. Whiting had a child, but it serves as our education center now. And as you go around the corner, you'll see an apple orchard honoring those of Herbert Dow's. I told Chad Gluck, our orchard specialist there on the left, that I put him on a slide with Herbert Dow and his orchards, and he was pretty happy to hear that. Chad is crazy about apple trees and fruit trees, and I am so glad to have him on the team. We had a lot of apple trees in the plan. We have 280 now, thanks to Chad. He kept growing the map. All those trees are going to get roots and grow, and we're going to have quite an orchard in a few years when you come visit us. And actually that picture, I have true confession, I think that one's about 3 years old, and they look small to me there. So that's a good thing, they're growing. But we are over on our forest side of campus now, and there's nothing, it's beautiful. The forest is located right in the heart of Midland. Midland is right on Business 10. They're going 45 miles per hour on the road outside our fence line, but you wouldn't know it when you're right there in the heart of Midland. You are in a forest. And so when you visit Dow Gardens, you can have as formal as we get when you first enter, with our bedding plants and color gardens and herb gardens. And then you can flow over the bridge and experience this a meadow, rain gardens, and forest. It's pretty remarkable. It's a neat experience that we have such a vast array to offer. With 3.5 miles of trails now throughout all of the gardens, now with our forest developed. Hesitated to put this picture up because we don't usually show it until we shovel or plow the sidewalks, but we do aim by 10 a.m. to have our sidewalks open and all clear, and everyone works really hard. But you'll start to see a glimpse of the canopy walk in the background there. And 6 trees were taken out to put the canopy walk in the forest. It was really important when we were looking at putting in what is still supposedly the nation's longest canopy walk, not to put a canopy walk in and not have a forest when we were done. And so they did some really interesting GPS work to design it, and as well as protect the trees as they built it. The canopy walk is accessible, and it does have an incline. I will admit, when I pushed my mom in a wheelchair to all the ends of the canopy walk, my shoulders were strained because there's a slight incline, but bring a buddy and we can share the workload. But it is accessible. And I got my mom out onto the far end, this hammock end where the spruces are. She's 40 feet up in the tops of the spruce trees, and she starts to recite a poem by Evangeline, just remembering being up, being in the trees. And it was a really neat experience. But again, it's a place to discover, it's a place to play, and just explore. Here's the pod feature in the winter. And the 40-foot, one of the arms, it has 3 arms that you start at a central and then you kind of expand out. This is the one that will take you to 40 feet up in a little glass overlook. And that's it at night when we lit it up and illuminated it and enjoyed a band up there one evening. Well, I guess it's 2 years ago now, before all this. And then some of the programs we do, I threw this slide in to just say, come hang out with us. But in all seriousness, we do offer, we have an arborist on our team who teaches how to go up into trees safely to the kids, and is also does a really neat Arbor Day program. One of the things I'm proud of with our team, Arbor Day is a holiday that's starting to get lost in Earth Day. It's in they're both in April, and we're working on just kind of focusing in on our trees and celebrating Arbor Day, and we're doing some neat things in the Midland community with the kids and planting trees. So that is like a really quick tour. I mean, really quick. I could talk about it all day, so I feel like I didn't do it justice. But I did want to throw this in there. I'm grateful to be a Rotarian with you. Kevin, you're up there in my corner. This is from my classification speech 2 weeks ago when I gave my classification speech. But please do come join us if you're in Midland. We would love to host you. We're the Noon Thursday Rotary Club. And just Dow Gardens, it's a legacy of beauty and philanthropy and community, and it's all coming straight from Herbert and Grace Dow, going strong, hopefully here. So that was my my Dow Gardens tour without the golf cart and in the chair. So I feel like I just sped you through Dow Gardens, though.
Oh, that was absolutely awesome. Kelly, I'll shut up and let you be president.
No, I wasn't really sure. I thought we were going to go through a nice little garden, but I'll tell you, like, there were a couple times where I was like, holy cow, that Sunbridge, like, just thinking about how they had to, like, the geometry and the sun rays, trying to get it so that it was that perfect circle, which kind of blew my mind. And the children's area, I mean, I could go on. That was really, really impressive. I mean, besides wanting to go to Midland to see where Jenny and Kevin are always bragging about all the time, like, now there's another reason. So Elizabeth, thank you so much. That was phenomenal. I was like, I got married in Daniel Stowe Botanical Gardens.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm like, I love our Daniel Stowe. And I'm like, Daniel Stowe might need to see this presentation.
Well, we have the gardens out your way. I'm pretty sure, where's she going? Gosh, it might be Charlotte. I have to look this up now. Our assistant director of, like, she does events and programming. She is headed, I think, to Daniel Stowe area for a placemaking conference for 2 days in March.
Oh, cool.
I think she's
Wow.
going to be in your stomping ground.
Yeah,
learning from all of you.
fantastic.
Yeah. They do some great things, but I'll tell you, there are some things that canopy walk, that's
It's
phenomenal. I've done something similar in Tennessee. They have like a huge canopy walk, and clearly you guys are the longest, but more people should be doing that type of thing. So, Elizabeth, congratulations on running a beautiful space that's connecting people back to nature. And we really appreciate you coming and speaking to us and sharing all those beautiful pictures.
As a visitor, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am, please.
I was amazed that she had elephant ears on the grounds, and I thought it was too cold, being from Cleveland too, to even grow those beautiful elephant ears. How do you do it? We think of Michigan as freezing cold, even in the summer. So, I mean, they just amazed me. Elizabeth, they're beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely a tighter growing season. And then I'll have to go back and look at the photo if that was something that was treated. It's definitely treated as an annual up here, but I am always amazed where when we grow extra plants in case there is a late frost and a bed gets frozen, we can take plants out of the greenhouse and replace them. And so when we don't have a late frost, we end up taking flats of plants home kind of as a perk of the job. And I'm always amazed. I can take the same plant home that they grew and started with, and theirs get larger. I mean, it's just, they're talented. They know what they're doing.
Everything
Elizabeth,
absolutely gorgeous, beautiful.
Oh, you'll have to come visit us.
Absolutely. Hey,
no,
Elizabeth.
we're oh, sorry, I was going to say we're over time, so if anyone needs to go, please do, but hopefully Elizabeth can stick around for another couple of minutes. I know I've actually got some questions, but Kevin, did you want to make a comment or ask a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I loved your quote. First of all, two things. Thank you for emphasizing Arbor Day with kids. I think that's absolutely awesome. But I love the Herbert Dow statement about being right 2 times out of 100, because that is a credo to live by as a Rotarian. We don't always get it right, but it won't stop us from trying. So thank you for sharing that. And of course, thank you for sharing this incredible presentation. I love Dow Garden. It was, every time I went there was always, as you said, something new to see, something different to see. When we were big brothers and big sisters, we took our little there all the time. It's just so much fun. And thank you so much for bringing a little bit of color and a little bit of greenery into our lives on our dreary Charlotte day. So Just wanted to say thank you, my friend.
You're welcome.
And they were just building the overpass
The
stuff,
canopy.
the
Yeah.
canopy. So we didn't really get to enjoy that.
Oh, come back up. We'll go
Yeah.
see it.
We hope to as soon as COVID goes away.
There's even a cafe over there now, so you can enjoy
Oh my
some
gosh.
coffee, or right now it's coffee and soup and tea.
Love it.
And mac and cheese.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, look, mac and cheese, and there you go.
I got her.
Elizabeth, two quick questions. Like, first of all, I love the fact that it's in Midland. Daniel Stowe is amazing, but like it's so far away from Charlotte, so it's really hard. It's difficult. It's not accessible to a lot of folks, and it is kind of expensive to get in, and so it's not necessarily accessible to people who can't afford the entry fee. So my question to you is, A, what do you guys do to reach out to under-resourced neighbors so that they can come and enjoy the gardens? And two, do you guys do plant sales and things to support your budget?
Oh, good question. So our fee is, I would say, really, really reasonable. It's $20 for the entire year, and you can loan your pass if you're not using it to friends and family. So it becomes like very, so that way you can share it. So it's not just us having to identify who can't get into Dow Gardens. You can share your pass with them and they can come use it. And then for the day it's $10, and then we have a student rate, and then kids 5 and under are free. So it's reasonably priced, and that's a start. And we do things, sometimes some of the things that we do are behind the scenes, like with our local shelter house. The way you do your pass is you come in and you usually identify yourself. And so rather than we donate like passes to shelter house, and then we have a name, and I'm not even gonna tell you what the name is, because they know the name. And when they come, they don't have to say, I want to use the shelter house pass. They just come and they say, oh, I'd like to use the da-da-da pass. And I haven't even told our frontline workers who owns the pass. And so they can come in, they can be from shelter house and have access, but maintain their privacy. And they don't realize that they're coming from our shelter house. So those are the kinds of things we look for to try to do to be a good partner in the community. What was your second question was?
Do you do plant
sales.
sales?
We don't do plant sales, but we support plant sales. So there's a garden club that will come and do a plant sale, a perennial plant sale in our parking lot. One thing that we work hard on, because we are supported by the foundation, which gives grants to so many in our community, we try not to compete if we can. So, and what I'm trying to say is, like, our cafe, you can't drive to on your way to work, even though it's right on Eastman and we have a prime location. We want you to go to the other coffee shops in town and just come to our cafe if you're in the garden as a convenience. And so one thing we struggle with is trying to not compete, but let like the grant making work. So.
Well,
Hey,
that seems very thoughtful.
I just wanted to add one more thing, Elizabeth. In addition to the frogs, you have the statues there. Jenny and I actually purchased a statue that was made, and that's such a wonderful thing too. They have,
Sculpt.
yes, it's fantastic. We actually have a statue that was made by some artists from Africa. I don't recall what part of Africa, but it's fantastic.
Wait, can you see
Yes,
it?
You have one too.
yes.
It's a little tiny bird by Passmore.
Awesome.
The Zim sculpt. Yeah.
Awesome. We have
Have
a
you guys-
I
we have
bought
a
one
Madonna
too.
and Child.
And it's out in our backyard.
Yes.
I had to buy one after Passmore was working so hard in the garden all summer. He loved making birds. I'm like, oh, make me a bird.
Oh, that's awesome.
Have you guys ever integrated, like, I don't know what kind of arts, opportunities Midland has, but have you ever integrated like the ballet or opera, or, something like, doing opera in the garden? So there's like little,
That sounds like
staging,
fun.
like tucked around.
Yeah, some of those memorable moments, or like that would kind of fall under there. We've had a couple of folks who did Shakespeare readings in the gardens, and that was kind of fun. I'd like to see more of that as we build our program team. And we were finding for a while, we had to take a hard look at the programs we were offering. We were almost competing against ourselves. It sounds strange, but we had a bird hike going at the forest and a bird hike going at the main garden at the same time. So we've been really taking a hard look at a balance and what we're offering, but I love the arts in the garden. Like, it's some of my favorite things. And my former dance teacher from way back when I was a kid, Linda Smith, started this place called Creative 360. And she came in and with students, and they danced like leaves one fall on our hills. And it was just like really fun, you know, and like, it was like modern dance interpretation, and all the kids were fluttering around, and kind of neat.
You guys should do a sonnet walk for Valentine's Day.
Uh,
One
They've
cool
also-
program. One
yeah, they've
program we
also done-
did, was
Go ahead.
Edgar Allan Poe readings in our house in the Pines
Oh.
at Halloween.
Mm.
We decorated the Pines kind of spooky, but not too spooky, just kind of. But then you went through the house and you heard different readings, like the telltale, you know,
Heart.
cards,
Yes,
knock, knock,
yes.
knock, and because Grace loved literature and she loved books. She loved it so much that the library is named after her in town, the Grace Adele
Mhm.
Library. And so celebrating literature here is fun too.
I
Do you
love the
guys have
fact that
story walks?
Like a story time or story walk.
Story walks. So like where you actually can put books, weatherproof books
That would
like
be
on
fun.
stands, and then the kids can do, they read. So it could be poetry, it could be, whatever, but it's just connecting literacy to the garden and their world.
I love it.
Call me. I'm happy to talk through any
I
of
was
these
just
ideas.
gonna say, let's have
I
Kelly
love
come up
this
here.
stuff. I
You're
love this
natural at
stuff.
this. I don't know what you do for your day job. but-
I'm in nonprofit, so like I'm with you. I do books. I do books. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Christine's got her hand out.
So I assume the photography in those gorgeous photos was not with your iPhone. Do you have special photographers on site? Is that how that? that
Some
works?
of it probably was with a few iPhone photos. To tell you the truth, a couple of them we have a gentleman, Harold Clausen, who comes in and takes some photos for us and shares them with us. And then I don't know what camera he's using, but I am so excited. If you go on our website, you're going to see we decided to invest in having a digital specialist on our team, on our marketing team, and you can see it. Like, you can see the difference now. If you see, especially on our website, because Jacob joined us about 6 months ago, and wow, I'll see him go by. He's got this backpack, and I was like, "Who is that?" Like, and it was Jacob with all his camera equipment, and he
Oh
is
my
like
God.
into it. So I don't know
Wow.
what he's using, but he's rocking it.
I love the fact that you have a historian at the Pines. That is fantastic. I did not know that when we were there. Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was a personal home, that somebody was living there.
Exactly. And that's how
Yeah.
it felt. It felt very off limits. I'm not going to sit on that porch. So we
Right.
added rocking chairs, and it's yeah, it's being used now. It's really
Gotta
nice.
come back just for that.
Yeah, Kelly, they also did wine tastings in the evenings a
Oh,
few
yeah.
times. That was fun.
That was fun.
The
Yeah.
butterfly,
Symphonies in the
garden.
park, like all
Butterflies.
those.
Yeah, we took our exchange students to the butterfly house many times, and
Mhm.
they just have beautiful, beautiful butterflies there.
We do get in trouble with the botanical garden world and the zoo world because like I said, you can touch the butterflies, like get them on your finger if you tickle their feet. And that is a no-no at every other place, I think. So we're a little bit out there on that
Ooh.
one, but we have not seen higher mortality rates or anything
Yeah.
with the butterflies. But I have seen some amazing interactions. We had some kids that came from one of the juveniles, the Midland Juvenile Center, to the butterfly house. And the facilitator said to me afterward, they saw a different, softer side
Wow. That's
on
great.
some other kids, and they wanted to hold a butterfly. And that interaction, that very intimate interaction, was something. We
That
teach
is
them
awesome.
how. It's
Wow.
not that we just say go catch one, but we don't. It's very thoughtful.
Well, I mean, the social emotional aspects of the experiential learning and social emotional aspects of that are, I would imagine, really incredibly powerful for any child. I mean, I need to learn how to tickle butterflies, y'all. I mean, like, that's our next
I know.
meeting. Butterfly feet tickling. My husband will be like, I want to be a butterfly.
They used to one time though, Ellie, this is a long story. My granddaughter Ellie, I know I look too
Wait, your
young to be a granddaughter. It's a whole nother story. But my husband had kids when he made me a grandma. Okay, so long story short, I'll give you my fast classification. 2 widowers meet. He already has a family. I become a grandma. It's pretty cool. He's 14 years older than me, so it works barely. But my granddaughter Ellie was so used to getting butterflies on her finger, she didn't realize she shouldn't when she's outside. And I was in our backyard, and she got a butterfly on her finger, and I'm like, wow, okay. She didn't know any better that they should fly away. And she was very patient, and she held one in our backyard.
Oh my goodness.
Easy.
Wow.
Cool.
Well, anybody else have any quick questions for Elizabeth before we let her go back to her snow?
Oh, I want to stay with you.
He wants you to
I mean,
stay.
we all go, oh, it's great. We love it. But we actually want it to melt away like you do.
Can
Do
I
you-
share
are-
that? Can I share the PDF that you sent me with our club?
Sure. That's
Okay.
fine.
Great. Elizabeth, thank
The,
you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes.
If you're ever in town to go visit Daniel Stowe or anything, please let us know. We'd love to have you in person and or
Absolutely.
maybe meet you out there and you can
That would be
give
fun.
us another perspective. So
It would be fun.
I will let you know if I'm in the area. It will happen. You guys, too many botanical gardens around you for me not to be.
We have plenty of room if you want to stay with us too. So
I think this is
Oh.
being recorded.
yes, it is.
yeah, she's like, I got it on recording. I always forget it's being recorded.
Evidence.
Can you just cut out the embarrassing parts, Jenny?
Nope.
Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much. Christine and Julie, thank you guys for being here. Happy birthday to Amarja and Rhett. And John, I hope you're feeling better, my friend. And you guys have a fantastic weekend. And
Right.
enjoy the rain.
Awesome.
Don't forget the 5-way test.
Don't forget
Don't
the
forget the
5-way
Oh,
five-way
five-way
test.
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 That's right. That's right.
Yes.
We didn't get to, we didn't.
Is Taylor still here? I saw
Yes.
your
Yeah.
last. I saw your last name. My grandma was a Houston. So
Oh,
my
nice.
great grandma. My
Oh.
great grandma was a
Awesome.
Houston.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So Sam Houston is my father's side. Is like my uncle.
Okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Sam Houston?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh
wait.
my gosh.
No,
How
wait,
come we're just
my-
finding
my
this out?
lineage-
Seriously?
Okay,
He
so
didn't
my
leave me any
lineage goes
money.
back to Sam Houston. We're cousins.
Yeah.
Oh my
We got
gosh.
Oh,
Sam
wow.
in our ancestry.com thing.
Wow.
So you guys are related somewhere.
Wow.
That is
Distant
crazy. That
cousins
is
right
crazy.
there. So that's pretty
Small
cool.
world.
Taylor is also the one that did the newsletter that I forwarded to you.
Cool.
Mr. Hat. We need a song. Mr. Hat needs a song.
That's really fun.
Mr. Hat's got jokes this week.
Yeah, that was good. That was very John Berenger reminiscent, by the way. That was a very like I was like, did John send him this? So
No, that was typing into Google Deacon jokes. And
Oh,
and
Deacon
clicking one of the
jokes, okay.
first links. Yes.
Elizabeth, when we're in person, we have for our happy dollars, we have a beaver hat. So
Right.
once Taylor took over the
it's
newsletter,
raccoon.
It's raccoon. not
raccoon,
eagle.
excuse me. So when Taylor took over, he made sure the raccoon came alive.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
Mr. Hat.
You guys have an
Yes,
amazing
sir.
club. I can tell. Good energy. Good energy here.
Yes.
Well, on that note, let us end with the 5-way test.
Yes.
Of all the things we think, say, or do, first, is it
Is
the
it the
truth?
truth?
Truth.
Second, is it
Is it
fair to
fair to
all
all
concerned? Third, will it build
Build
goodwill and better
and better
friendships?
friendships.
Fourth, will it be beneficial
Beneficial
to all
concerned.
concerned?
Concerned.
And fifth, will
Will
it
it
be
be
fun?
fun?
Have a great weekend, everybody. Good to see everybody.
Take care,
and,
Thank you,
be safe.
Elizabeth.
Good
Bye-bye.
weekend.
Thank you,
Bye.
Elizabeth.
Thank
Bye.
Absolutely loved it, Jenny.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Thank you so much.
It's not letting me close it. Oh, that's right.